Mormon Church, and the doctrine clearly shows that we shouldn't have a king. And I'm okay with, having a president that's a little bit on the edge, as long as all the laws keep him in check. But if we make him into a king and take away all the safeguards, that's what I'm against. And where does it go from here? I mean, maybe the guy shows up in Utah and decides the Salt Lake Temple is going to be his winter palace, right? That's what kings do, and that's where we're headed if we don't do something.
What makes you go? What's bringing on this king stuff? Like, what specifically is giving off that impression?
Well, the other two branches of government are looking the other way as he's taking on more and more power.
He's overstepping his executive office, and Congress is allowing him to do it. When Nixon was impeached, it was because Republican senators went to him and said, "You must resign, or we will convict you, impeach and convict you." They had been at a birthday party for him a week before. They were his allies, but they recognized that he had violated the law and violated the Constitution, and they forced him out. And that is what needs to happen now. Our senators who have supposedly good Mormon values know the difference between corruption and righteousness, and they are turning a blind eye to the works of Donald Trump. The emollients clause is being violated right and left. That's something that a king does. Special favors for the president. By his
So do you think there's been some Nixon level things going on?
I think we're beyond Nixon. I think we are beyond Nixon as far as corruption is concerned.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming out and expressing your First Amendment.
Thank you.
There you have it. I hope that audio came through. Let's see. Turn this up. We're over here at Pioneer Park, downtown Salt Lake City. This is the remainder of the protest. We got the Fuzz. The Fuzz just showed up. I think that guy's going to play hockey. Looks like.
He did play hockey.
What are you guys doing out here?
We're doing all right.
Yeah. Doing all right.
Fighting for our brothers, our sisters.
They tried to intimidate us, tried to scare us.
Resistance.
We stayed in the streets.
Who did?
Whoever shot at us.
Oh, the shooting?
Yeah.
What was the deal with that? Were you guys up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were up there.
I saw people started running. We both had med kits in our bags, and we were expecting it to be like cops firing rubber bullets, but to think that there's someone out there with so much hatred in their heart that they can't let a protest just be peaceful as it is disgusting. I think it's time for Americans to look at themselves critically in the mirror, and if we can't walk in the streets and like fight for our lives without being shot at by other people, it's ridiculous. We expected.
Did they catch the guy?
Yeah.
Suspected. We don't know.
We expected resistance from the police, not from other Americans. It's tragic, but we're gonna be okay.
I think people always try to make out the social movements to be violent in and of themselves, and I think we've seen over and over again that we are not the ones bringing violence. We saw that on Thursday. We saw that today. The only violence was coming from
What was on Thursday?
other people on the other side. We had another. It was an anti-ICE protest. So this was
Yeah, I was there. What I thought you were talking about some violence or something.
Yeah, in the police
there's a fight.
in the police reports as well as in the news, if you read it at all, they talked about how Trump supporters had self-declared Trump supporters had started some fights. So if you look up kind of any major newspaper, as well as if you look on the cop websites, although
I saw a
wouldn't
video on
recommend going
KTV of a fight. I didn't know the context
yeah,
of it.
I mean that's what was the statement that was given by both sides of that altercation. But I think, regardless, you saw how many people were out on Thursday. You saw how many people were out today, and the violence was not coming from within this this movement.
But can you guys hold your signs up?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Of course.
How's it going? going on here? How's it going?
Good, good. Hey, may I have a small moment of your time?
Sure.
Great. Just want to present you with a. Oh, hell yeah. You want
What are we looking at here?
So we're looking at a 21st century economic bill of rights.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders says that it's not just enough to say this is not what we want. We need a bold new agenda that will put the American people on an affirmative path forward.
Okay.
And this is a 21st century economic bill of rights, which takes a lot of what FDR wanted to see for the country, but it breaks it down to first principles and takes into consideration a lot of the upcoming changes to our economy, especially with the AI revolution coming. This will help ensure that people's needs are met, even as employment opportunities will become fewer and fewer, not to mention address a lot of the corruption that is inherent in our system. This has enforcement mechanisms for Congress to be able to hold them accountable and to prevent them from voting on things where they have conflicts of interest.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. People can scan that.
They can scan that. That'll take you to the sign-up page. If you want to take another look at what these are, you can just hit the home button. But
Okay.
Yeah. We've got our eye on all 8,156 state and federal legislators. And because a constitutional amendment takes 3/4 of all the states to ratify it, not to mention 2/3 of each chamber of Congress.
Okay.
So we hope to empower the next generation of legislators to step up and to support the economic bill of rights. If you want to run for office, sign up. We'll try to get you connected to as many resources as we can. We are a registered PAC as well, non-connected.
What's the name of it?
Power of the People.
Power of the People PAC.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely. Who are you with?
KMMU.org, Main Street Media, Utah.
Fantastic.
Giving people a voice.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
See it. Here's the last of the protest here. The corner of Pioneer Park. Check this out before we end the stream. Howdy. I got Lady Liberty on here. Can I interview you?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
Are you want me to hold it?
What brings you out here today?
I am here because I was raised to believe that we live in a better country than what I'm seeing on the news today. So
How so?
I believe that we were built on a whole bunch of people who thought of laws as good ideas, right? If we don't like the way that immigration laws look in this country, why aren't we talking about that? Why are we talking about legality with a president who breaks the law to enforce it, right? When you talk about the violations that DHS and ICE are committing right now, don't talk to me about the Constitution, right? When you talk about these arguments, you talk about, this is about legality. I don't want to talk about legality if you're not going to honor and protect the constitutional and statutory rights of migrants who, I'm sorry, my ancestors are migrants. I think just because my ancestors came from Sweden doesn't mean
Do you have like any specific examples?
like, what do you mean?
Like somebody's rights being violated, or a way that the law was being broken. I see your
Exactly.
sign.
Yeah.
It's just for sale.
The Statue of Liberty holds the tablet of law in her hand, right? And when we talk about, you can talk about Governor Newsom and Trump having this little spat on Twitter, but at the end of the day, President Trump did not coordinate with Governor Newsom. He sent the troops in illegally. He did not authorize the service of the National Guard, which, again, when we're going back to what we talk about, right, is people love to talk about the Constitution. Let's talk about the Constitution. If you want, sorry, it's a little loud. When you talk about our Second Amendment rights, right, a lot of people, especially on the conservative side of things, they love to talk about our Second Amendment rights, right? I look at our Second Amendment rights and I say, my militia is the National Guard. Why on earth does President Trump have access to my militia? I understand you federalized the National Guard, but there are processes and there are things that we go through. I think if there was a different president in power that violated those steps, those procedures that we have in
So you think he abused his authority as commander-in-chief?
Absolutely, I think he did. I think that once we have, once this administration is over, I think we're going to reflect not only on the abuses of power of President Trump, but I think we're going to look at the executive as a whole, right? Even in his last term in office, Trump dramatically increased the power of the executive branch, right? And you could argue that Joe Biden took advantage of that with executive orders, but Donald Trump has increased the power of the executive branch. If you want to talk about what our founding fathers intended, it's checks and balances. That's why we fought. That's why we did all this back in 1776. And you can argue, yes, of course, you should just follow the law, don't emigrate here, don't break the law. Our ancestors broke the law in order to do this. It's what America is built on is the social contract, right? When you are not having your needs, your desires met by your government, it is your responsibility to stand up. That's what John Locke wrote about, that's what Thomas Jefferson wrote about in the Declaration of Independence. That's what this country is built on, is this idea that sorry,
Thanks for speaking out. Saying your piece.
Of course. I think also Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. I mean,
Sorry, I don't want to put any pressure
no,
on
it's
you.
okay. Here, come here. This is funny. I took my younger sister to this protest. She believes in the same things I do, and we were up on State Street. Yeah, up on State Street when the shooting happened. I mean, we were right in the front of the
Close by?
Oh, they told us that they shot at the front of the crowd, the sparse in front of the crowd. We were right just behind the very front.
Yeah.
So we were probably 20, 30 yards away.
Yeah.
We didn't know it was gunshots at first. And
Yeah.
we were all the way around the corner running when people said, hey, there's a shooter, keep going. And we ran into
St. Mark's.
St. Mark's Episcopal Church. They were amazing. They gave us they let us come in and sit at the pews and were amazing. But again, sorry, I keep talking about the freaking Constitution, but when you talk about First Amendment rights, I've seen so much online, on the news about, don't break the law, don't go out there. Why are these people out there breaking the law? And they're asking, especially in Los Angeles, these people are out there rioting, breaking the law. Of course we have to send the military, we have to send additional enforcement in. This is what the First Amendment is all about, right? It's not, if we say we like to say freedom of speech is the First Amendment, but it's not freedom of speech. There's the whole other, what other? Four other?
Yeah.
Religion, assembly, press, petition, speech. This is the right to assembly, right? That's what we talk about. This is the right to petition. I'm not having my voice heard. This is how I want to, this is the only way I can think of to make my voice heard. Sorry, I know I just
you're
talked
right,
a lot,
you're
but
passionate.
hopefully there's something usable in there. But
Thanks for coming out here.
Of course.
Makes America great! Love, not hate! 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 Makes America great!
Makes America great!
That's it for me tonight. The cops are leaving.